Hi everyone, so quite a few of you will recognise this card that I made a little while ago using, I think it was either, or using some dies that I was sent. I'll put them up on the screen, and some Antonio Makes papers. And so today I've had a go with some Coca-Rosa Studio dies that I've been sent. So make sure you used iced 20 if you go over there. I'll get you 20% off and it helps me out. And then I've also used the Arctic Wonder first edition paper pad from DRK Crafts as well. So that, and you've got space on the back to write, and then this is just some pearlised card from my own stash. So yeah, so this folds down and will fit in an envelope for a A5, what is an A5 over here. So I'll go through the measurements in the actual video, so I won't bore you with them now. But yeah, it's quite a cool card. You have to make sure you use good sturdy cardstock. This one's really good. It stands up, oh, she says it doesn't. It stands up quite nicely if you kind of fold it back on itself. This one, however, is a bit more floppy, so you have to kind of give it a bit more help. So as long as you use decent cardstock, then you should be fine. But yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so for this card, I'm going to be using these Coca-Rosa Studio dies, but obviously you can use whatever you've got. So previously, I used these poppy dies, so I just cut out circles and I used these dies. So my circles today are a bit bigger than what I used previously. These circles measure about 4 3/4 across, whereas these measure approximately 5 1/8 roughly. So you want to stick to kind of that. I mean, it does kind of fit in an envelope for an A5 here in the UK, an A5. So this actually, when flattened, this measures sort of like 5 really, 5 by about 8, well 7 3/4. So yeah, so obviously that will fit then in an envelope, an A5 envelope. So yeah, so you can do what you want. So you don't necessarily have to have these dies. But when I saw these dies, I was like, oh, that's perfect. That is for the globe card. So what we're going to do is, I've already cut out my circles, which I'll go through in a moment. But first of all, let's deal with the actual base, so the bottom bit that we're going to be using. So you're going to need one piece that is 5 by 11. And on this piece, along the 11-inch edge, you're going to score at 1 inch, at 2.5, at 3.5, at 5, at 7, 8.5, and 9.5. Then you're going to turn your card around and you just want to make a mark at 1. In fact, you can score down. So where we've got, at the moment, we've got this centre, this is like the centre. So you've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then like a bigger piece, and then 1, 2, 3. Well, if you count that as your centre, even though it's not, so from the centre, these are the same size, these are the same size, these are the same size. This one is not the same size, okay? So if we turn it, with it this way round, with you having 4 panels here, then the centre, yeah. So if you turn it round so that you've got your 4-panelled section at the top of your trimmer, or your scoreboard, then what you want to do is at 1 inch, you're going to come down and you're going to go up to the 3rd score line. So you're going to go past that one, 1, 2, and we're going to stop at the 3rd. Okay, and we're also going to do this at 4 inches, 1, 2, and stop at the 3rd. Now these will be cut lines, but if we just sort of score them in for now, then it helps matters. If we turn it round now, so we've got the 3-panel bottom end. So this is our like middle section, and you've got 1, 2, 3 panels. You can do the same again from 1 inches, but this time you're only going to come to the 2nd line. So past the 1st, stop at the 2nd. Okay, so at 4 inches, past the 1st, stop at the 2nd. Okay, so that's what you end up with. So, I don't know if you can see this, hopefully you can. You should end up with a centre section, and the sections either side have no score lines. Then one side has 2 score lines going through it, well, through 2 of the panels, and this one, 3 of the panels have a score line going the other way. Okay, so that's what you need for scoring. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're actually going to cut along these lines. So we want to cut down that score line we've just done, and I would obviously don't cut on the other side of it. I mean, if you want to just draw them in and then cut later instead of having score lines, you can. But you're going to cut, so this is the one with 2 sections, and then you've got, hopefully you can see that. Let me just angle it so you can see it. You see? So you're going to cut down these 2 sections. When you get to here, you're going to go from here to this corner. So I'm actually going to, since I've got my ruler in place, I'm going to cut down past this one, stop there, and then where this connects, so 1, 2, 3, this is where it starts up again. I'm just going to cut from there to the end. Okay, so you end up with that. And we're going to repeat that on this side. Okay, so you should end up with that. I'll turn it right around for you. I'm doing mine on the diagonal because I'm trying to do it while standing up so I don't get my head in the way. Okay, so now we're going to do this diagonal cut. So we're going to cut from here to the end of this score line, and from here to the end of this score line. So that's what you should end up with. So these 2 pieces come out. And then if we turn this round, we're going to do the same again here. So we're going to go from the bottom of that cut line all the way to the end of this score line, and from the bottom of this cut line to the end of this score line. Okay, so you end up with that. Now I really wanted, because I didn't want it to be plain white, so I wanted to put some kind of, to emboss it basically, but I knew that obviously I haven't got an embossing folder this big in the design that I want it to be in. So I thought, let me score it first, and then I can just see where my score lines are, because obviously this is going to be the base section. So this bit doesn't need to be embossed. So I can kind of emboss to one side and emboss to the other side. So I'm going to get out a embossing folder now and just emboss it. Okay, so I found this old Sizzix snowflake, you can sort of see it, snowflake folder. I wanted something that's sort of random because it makes it just easier to kind of do. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to put this in, and I'm just going to go up to that score line there. Actually no, this score line here. I don't need to do the base, but I can fit all of that in. So I'm going to just, I don't need all this embossed, but just it's just easier. So I'm going to emboss all of that up to that score line, and then I'm going to emboss all this section up to that score line. So I shall come back in a minute. The only problem I've got is that actually. So actually, let me do it this way around. So I'm going to do it this way around instead. Because I need, this is the bit you can see. So I need the whole of that to be embossed. So I'm just going to emboss that section there. It doesn't matter about this. So I'm going to emboss this section here, and then I'm going to do this bit here. So I'll come back in a moment. Okay, so as you can see, I've embossed it all. So I'm just going to now go and fold along these lines. I just be careful not to obviously squash my embossing too much. But I'm going to give them a burnish. I mean, if I squash it, I squash it. So I'm just going to go along and fold along these lines and burnish them. Okay, so you should end up with that. So then on the section where you've got the 3 sections, you want to put on this very end, you want to put a bit of glue or red tape on your, what is kind of like your outside of your card. And what's going to happen is this is going to fold round, and that is going to go like that and stick down like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stick that down. If you want to stick it flat, that's probably the best thing to do. So if you actually stick it so it's flat like that, that will help you later. So before we do much else, we need to start sticking our globes in. So we can't do any more putting together until we've sorted out our globes. So what you need is you're going to need, well, I've gone, at the bare minimum, you need 5 globes, 5 circles. But if you want to do acetate, which is what I have here, then you're going to need 3 circles in total, 3 circles of acetate, and 3 backing circles if you want to do that as well. So what I've done with mine is I've actually got here, I've got 1 card circle which I've put dot and dab adhesive, A5 adhesive sheet on the back of. Actually no, I haven't with this one. This one I've actually used the Dot and Dab glitter adhesive sheets. So I've used these premium glitter adhesive glitter card, and you've got black and also white in a pack. They do other colours as well. This is really good. I wasn't sure how well it was going to die cut, because quite often glitter doesn't die cut very well. It's non-shed as well. This actually weighs 130, which is quite a good weight for what we need it for. So I've gone ahead and die cut. So I've die cut the back one out, and then I've die cut the middle one out. And because it's adhesive, obviously then you can stick your acetate straight onto it. So I'm going to worry about adhesive sheets. And then this one I've die cut out. And I just want to show you how easily it die cuts. So this is quite an intricate design where the trees are, but it actually comes out reasonably, reasonably well. Obviously sometimes the backing doesn't cut, but that's fine as long as the top bit cuts. That's your main problem. So that has come out really nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that onto my other acetate sheet. Now these are actually, I don't know where this is from, printed acetate. It's from many years ago. It's actually gold snowflakes, but I need the silver, and the back is silver, so that's what I'm going to use. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick this onto there like that. Okay, so that's your one of them done. So in total, let's go through again what I had. I had 3 sheets, so I've got 3 sheets, 3 circles of glitter card, the adhesive glitter that I've cut out into the 3 different, using the 3 different dies. Then I've got 2 circles of acetate. Obviously you don't have to use acetate, but it does make it stronger. I've put nothing on the back. With my poppies I did, but with this one I decided not, because these are adhesive sheets, they actually look quite decent on the back. They don't look, you can't see tape and glue, they just look alright, so you're not really going to see them, and it's sturdy enough. So I decided not to bother. And then on the back of this one, I've then stuck a piece of pattern paper, which is actually double-sided, but I really wanted the snowflakes. So on the back of here, I've then cut out another circle, just a plain white, and this is slightly smaller. And that's going to go on there like that, and that's going to have my greeting on it. So I'm going to go ahead now and stick this down onto here. Okay, so I've gone ahead on the back there, stuck my white card down. So what we need to do first, I think, is work from the back and then kind of work our way forwards. Because when it's folded flat like that, that's the length that you're going to have to deal with. So I think if I put my circle about there like that, then that means that the whole thing folded flat will be 8 inches, which is fine. So I'm going to go ahead now and just stick that down. Okay, so next we need to stick the middle one on, which is this one. Now if you want to try and make sure it definitely lines up, what I would do is lay this over, in fact turn it round probably, lay it on so it's the right way up, it's nice and straight, and then just make a mark where that line comes, that fold line comes. Okay, so I've made a bit of a mark there. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to stick this onto here. So if you want to, you can just fold that up, and you're just going to stick that on there. You just want to make sure your marks are in position. So I'm going to use red tape for this bit, just because I've got acetate, I don't want to melt it. Okay, so that is your middle section in. Then what I'm going to do is put a little piece just across the front there, and then we can go ahead and stick it down. So obviously when you stick it, you want it all to be folded this way. So if you just fold this bit down on top of it like that, then that will all be in the right place. And when you pop it up, you should have those 2 pieces level. Okay, so then we just need to stick the front on. And again, if you want to, you can just eye it, or you can actually line it up. Okay, so you should end up with your globe card. Now one thing you do need to note is that this card cannot be very flimsy, so I used a 300 GSM and that wasn't enough, so mine's a bit flimsy, it kind of wants to flop back again, so just be aware of that. And also you need to make sure these are secure enough that they're not going to flop. So if they feel like, you know, again this acetate was quite thick, which has helped, but just keep that in mind. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a greeting on the front there, and then that is done. So I also went ahead and put a greeting on the front, which also came out the same first edition pad. So yeah, so that's your finished card, and as I said, it folds down flat and will fit in an envelope for an A5 piece of card. Also I can just need to put my greeting on the back. But yeah, I hope you liked it. Please don't forget, if you do go and get these dies from Coca Rosa Studio, please don't forget to use my code ICE20, which will get you 20% off and also helps me out. And please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.